Hey folks, what we're working on today is my 2007 FJ Cruiser. I had a axle seal leak for a while on it, and it kind of got away from me a little bit, I guess, and I've had evidently some kind of catastrophic failure that we're just going to start disassembling things a little bit at a time, kind of sorting through stuff and checking stuff as we go. Obviously, we know that the wheel seal and or axle seal, pardon me, and the outer bearing on the driver's side is shot. Well, I'll bring the camera over here in a second and show you the mess that has made. But there's much bigger issues that have developed that I can only assume are because of this. And like I said, this video we'll just kind of go through things a little bit as we disassemble it until we find out what the problem is, and then come up with some kind of solution to get it fixed. But we'll take a look at this side and just kind of show you what kind of mess got made here. You can see, looking in here, the brake caliper is just coated in gear oil. The fins inside the rotor are covered. Inside the wheel well is covered. This thing had been leaking much worse than I thought for a while, and just made a complete mess of stuff. So we got a lot of cleaning to do, and just it's going to be messy getting it apart, but we'll get dug into this here and just kind of keep you all updated as it goes along and see what we find out. All right, after doing some step-by-step diagnosis, it come down to pulling the differential, and no doubt we found the issue here. You can trying to get some camera to focus here on that ring gear. The ring gear is annihilated. The pinion, you can kind of see it in there, it's chewed up. I don't know if something came apart and got in here. I wasn't off-roading when any of this happened, so the only thing I can assume is either extreme heat damage or like I said, a bearing came apart or something and got in there and chewed stuff up. But I guess I got my answer, and I guess I'll be making a call to East Coast Gear and get another differential on the way. Alrighty. So, like I said, I made a call to East Coast Gear and got a rebuilt differential on the way. Just 410 gears and you know, nothing absolutely nothing fancy about it. Just a replacement e-locker third member, and kind of at that point decided, seeing as how I had everything apart, to go ahead and do both outer bearings and that sort of thing, and got that stuff ordered up, and took the axles to a pardon me, a semi-local shop, and the gentleman there, I had kind of looked at these axles before, and you can see, looking at the video here, the splines on this axle, something just didn't look right to me. And I kind of had him take a peek at him a little bit and look at him close. And he said, "Oh yeah, the splines on that are they're almost rolled off." So all right, I'm at this point, I'm into it a differential and at least one axle, and we decided, well, if we looked at that axle, we might as well
check the other one as well. And this video doesn't show it as well as I would like for it to, but if you look at the splines on this axle, these splines are twisted, and I don't know what kind of obvious abuse that this rear end seen before I purchased the truck, but this kind of stuff doesn't just happen. You know, it's not due to it's not normal wear and tear, and evidently this thing kind of had the snot beat out of it a little bit. Yeah, as the picture moves down here a little bit, you can kind of start to see where those splines are definitely twisted and knocked out of line. So anyway, at this point, I started trying to figure out what to do for replacement axles. And honestly, after doing a little bit of pricing around and that kind of stuff, I figured out that chrome moly axles from Nitro Gear and Axle are actually cheaper than factory replacement axles. And I had a lot of people ask, why didn't you just use used axles and that kind of stuff? At this point of the operation, I was into this deep enough that I just felt comfortable spending new parts. So got a hold of Nitro Gear and Axle and got a new set ordered up. It definitely seriously added to the expense of this. I was not expecting to spend anywhere near this kind of money, but it's what it came down to. So that's what I did. But anyway, just a few shots of these new axles. Very quality stuff. I was very, very impressed with them when they showed up, and at this point don't regret my decision to go that route, even though it was pretty pricey to get them together. To try to ease the price up a little bit on getting the bearings installed, I decided to do install the lug studs and stuff myself. You can see just working with the shop press here in my own shop, getting set up to install the lug studs. Pardon me. I would have loved to have done the axle bearings myself as well, but my press just was not big enough for the job, and it was just easier to find somebody that had the puller tools, the setup to pull the old bearings off and the packing plates and that kind of stuff. So I ended up just paying to get that done. Like I said, I thought I like to be involved as much as I can, and by this stage of this operation, I was starting to get really frustrated with things, and honestly wanted to save as much time as I could, and figured I couldn't take the axles to the other shop till Monday, and this was on a Saturday or Sunday, so I just did it myself. But, like I said, dropped the axles off at a shop and had them press the old backing plates off and the new bearings on and that kind of stuff, and get everything put together and ready to go for me. And you can see here just a shot of that finished product kind of being done and ready to go. And at this point, I was finally able to start reassembling things. See, sliding the axle in here and kind of trying to get everything lined up and ready to go. Axle seated. I found this this little diagram right here invaluable to putting the parking brakes back together. In all reality, the parking brakes, as far as reassembly went, were probably the biggest part of the challenge to getting this thing put back together. Anybody that's ever had them apart or worked on them at all knows they are kind of a bit of a pain in the neck to get done. So this little diagram helped make sure I had all the parts and everything in order and where they needed to be and that kind of stuff. This is just the parking brake put together, and I didn't finish taking any more pictures of just getting the brakes put together and that kind of stuff. Got everything reassembled. Struggled just a very little bit getting the locker actuator back in time, but once I finally got it up and going, everything worked out fine. Didn't have any more issues with it, and I've at this point managed to I've got all the break-in miles, and at this point I'm actually recording this well beyond the break-in miles. Probably put a couple thousand miles on it by this point, and everything is working flawlessly. The truck is running great without any issues whatsoever. So happy to report that, and hopefully this will be something that I don't have to dig into again for a long time. I know several people asked me throughout the process, posting on social media and that kind of stuff, why I didn't upgrade to a different axle or do something along those lines. Plain and simple, folks, this is my daily driver. It's not my wheeling rig. It's not a truck that I take out and work real hard. It's just kind of a daily driver and kind of my exploration vehicle. I got the FJ Cruiser because I wanted an FJ Cruiser, not because I needed another wheeling rig, and I just could not justify doing something like a diamond axle or something like that. And I know and openly admit that the 8-inch differential has some inherent weaknesses and that kind of stuff, and that is frustrating. But hopefully I have enough upgraded parts in this thing now to not have to worry about any of that, and it'll be good, like I said, good to go for a long time to come. But anyway, we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. If you enjoy the video, please hit the like button down there at the bottom. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this kind kind of content, Toyota truck and off-road content, make sure and check out the podcast at on Apple Podcast app or the Google Podcast app. Check out our website at toyotatrucksandtrails.com. With all that said, we'll be back with another video here in a week or so. All right, appreciate it.